Ray, thank you for joining me on the Know Your Legacy podcast. Appreciate you taking the time out. So today's guest, Raymond, he is social media influencer who has multiple pages that are in the hundreds of thousands of followers. He has his own e-commerce site, and he's in the process of building up his own personal brand now on Instagram. Welcome to the podcast, Ray. Appreciate you taking the time out, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for having me.
Not a problem, man. Anytime. So I wanted to just start off with people hearing your story in terms of, how did you actually get to the position where you built up multiple pages and became a social media influencer the way you are today?
Yeah, so I kind of shared with you earlier, but I was actually a human biology major, and I studied that because, well, first of all, my dad's a dentist, and as an Asian household, they come from the idea that security is the most important thing. And back then they didn't have like online digital businesses, and like times have changed a lot. And for them, having a diploma, having a degree is the only way to have a safe way to make income, to provide for your family and everything. And so I got that, but it never really got to my heart. Like, it was never something that I was like passionate about. I was just, studying human biology because I didn't know what else to study, and I didn't know what I wanted. And but I knew, like, the more that I studied it, this wasn't something that my heart was pulled towards. My heart wasn't in it. It was just like, am I just going to study this to make money and get in a lot of debt and probably spend 8 to 10 years of my life to study just to get out of debt for another 10 years and finally live my life, And so I started looking for other ways to make money. I was in chiropractic school, actually, so I didn't do dentistry. I went to chiropractic school. My uncle's a good chiropractor in Seattle, and he's doing really well. But if all I cared about was just just being safe and stable, then I could have just been a chiropractor, just endure the 4 years and start practicing. But I wasn't. Like I said, my heart wasn't in it. I felt like there's something more to life than just living like this. And so I started looking online. I wanted freedom, and so I started looking how to make money online. Started looking at people like Pat Flynn and Joel Brown, who runs Addicted to Success and Seeing, just like there's different ways of making money, and I started trying to learn that. And so I think what's important to note is I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what the future would hold, but I just knew that where I was at is not where I wanted to be, and I just had to take steps to at least search and figure out what I want. And so I started like Googling, researching how to make websites. I made a website about blackheads, like blackhead removers, to make money off of that. So I just did all these kinds of random things, or it seemed random, but eventually led me down to social media. And I tried building a motivational website and driving traffic to it and make money off the ads. And I started building an Instagram page around motivational quotes. And from there, I just networked with a lot of people. I started learning how people are growing their pages, how they're making money off of social media. And there's something called shout-outs where people pay you to do ads for them on your page. And so, once I figured out about that, I started learning more about that, started investing money into learning how, social media works and how people make money off of it. And I bought some of my own pages that were like 100K plus, like luxury niche pages. And I thought, I'll make money then right away. But it's not that easy to make money off shout-outs. Develop relationships and all that. But, everything was like a process. I didn't go from I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just taking one step at a time. And eventually, as I networked with other influencers, I was like, I want to share their story. People don't know. These social media influencers, they don't know their story. They just think like, oh wow, they just got a lot of followers somehow, but they don't know the stories behind them. And so I started interviewing these influencers. One of them, Benny Esco, he's one of the first interviews I did. He grew up in, I think, South Central LA, so in a very there's a lot of gangs there, and he had a lot of family members who were shot, people he knew, and then he watched the movie. What was it called? The Secret.
The Secret.
And then and then he realized that the way he's, like, the trajectory he's on, if he keeps going this way, then it's going to lead to destruction. And so he decided to make a change, and he started getting into self-development. and even made his own Instagram page and started inspiring people with these quotes. And so, like, hearing all these stories, what I want to do is like inspire people and empower them to find what they really want to do with their life. Because I believe we're not here to just pay bills and do something we don't like for 40, 50 years of our life and then retire, and then by then you're too old to really do much,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, I don't have everything figured out, but I just took action, just took one step at a time. And then, I have my e-commerce store that I'm using my Instagram pages to drive traffic to, and but it's all like a process, and that's kind of how I got into social media.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's a cool story, man, and it's an inspiring one because, as you mentioned before, it's one step at a time. That's what people don't understand. It's not
Mm-hmm.
you don't go from A to Z straight away. It's every day you go in A, B, C, and trying to figure out what the next letter is, trying to uncover what the next step is as you go on. And the funny thing is, the next step only gets revealed to you once you take the first step. So you have to have the courage to actually keep walking down the path, even if you don't feel like you know where you're going next.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kind of like how they say, you open one door and the next door opens, right? But if you never open it, you'll never see the doors behind it.
yeah,
And so it's just like, yeah, it's crazy, I didn't know where I'd end up, but I just knew that you have to trust yourself too. You have to, like Steve Jobs said, you have to trust that somehow all the dots will connect in the end. You have to trust your gut, your intuition. And for a lot of people, that's scary because there's no security, there's no guarantee behind that. But I guess you got to think of it like, if I don't, like, for me, my perspective was, if I don't, I was already getting into social media, I already had things going, and if I don't take a chance and a risk now to do this, I might never ever go back and do it again. And
yeah,
so there's like a certain time and opportunity you have, and when you miss that, you might not have it again. And so it's just, I just did it, and just, yeah, I don't regret it, having left grad school
yeah,
and being where I am today. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, it's funny you say that because it's the same with me in the sense that I went to I studied in the traditional sense, did a law degree, and then I went to law school to practice, and then I decided to take a complete different turn and went into because I realized from having that year of study that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I
Mm.
took a complete U-turn and went into sales and business and wanted to get my mind frame and my business personality and my business character stronger because I knew that's the direction I wanted to go in.
Mm.
And then build an inspiring podcast or motivational company or movement around that in some shape or form. So yeah, man, it's all about just having the courage to actually take the step in the direction that you know deep down you always want to take,
Mhm.
and just not allowing the distractions to come in the way of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And I also want to like note that if it wasn't for, like, sometimes you have to do something you really don't like. Like for me, having studied science, which I really, the more that I studied it each year in college, I was like, the more I knew this wasn't what I wanted. And so you kind of have to go through. You got to, like, have a certain suffering point, and once you reach that
yeah,
threshold of suffering, you're like, okay, I got to do something to get out of where I'm at right now. And so
yeah, yeah,
a lot of people, they're just like comfortable working their job, or not to say jobs are bad or school is bad. I don't think so, but but every person knows, like, if this isn't right for them or they don't feel like satisfied doing it.
mm,
And but not everyone reaches that point of, like, I've had enough of this. So they just keep living in that, like, kind of limbo of just staying where they don't really want, but being comfortable because it's at least, like, paying for the bills. But I feel that's like, I don't think that's living. I think that's
mm,
just, you're just existing. You're not thriving. You're just existing.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
so yeah.
yeah. No, definitely, and the whole notion of retirement. Retire from what? That you should find something that you enjoy, and every day should be as if it's the perfect day for you almost. And as cliche as it sounds, it's like if you find something, that old age saying, if you find something you love to do, you never have to work a day in your life. That's that. Seriously, I find that to be the case because And now that I'm on the trajectory of doing something that I enjoy, I don't ever complain about my work. You know, about going to the job that I go to building the business that I build, or losing the sleep that I'm losing just because I'm staying up those extra hours to put in the work. It's not an issue, you know. So it's nothing. I don't have to feel like I have to run away from this at some point and go on vacation, because it's not something that I'm forced to do. So
Yeah, because it's coming from within you. You know,
yeah,
you're just being yourself, and
yeah,
like that's the best way to live. You know.
yeah.
So
No, definitely. So I was going to say, so where did you find your interest to lie when you were younger? I mean, I say that because when I look back in my life, around the age of 14 or 15, I was always writing and speaking in some shape or form, and that's now I find that's where my strengths are, and that's where I've gone all in on, in terms of writing articles, speaking, doing these podcasts. I love connecting with people, and I always used to get in trouble in school for talking too much, ironically, and so that's how I knew when I was looking back that I had those traits early on. That if I knew about them early on, I would have followed in that direction. But is there anything that stands out for you when you look back to think, oh, I was always going to do that because I could see myself heading in that direction without realizing?
yeah. That's a good point you bring up childhood because I believe our childhood really affects who we become. You know, and I mean I think you should, whether good things or bad things happen, you could always use it to turn it into something good. You know, so I grew up. My parents fought a lot when I was young, and I grew up. It was not a happy. Uh, I don't remember it as a happy childhood. You know, there was a lot of dark times, and a lot of times I remember just like my parents fighting, or just my mom drinking or smoking when I was young, and I'd just be watching her, outside the window
Yeah,
when I was like around 8 years old, 8 to 10, like, and just felt there's a lot of loneliness, a lot of darkness, and a lot of just feeling like, why do I have to go through this, as a kid? But deep down, I also knew, I felt like God was going to use all of this for something greater, like to impact people. And I felt like there's a purpose for it. Even though I was pretty young, like even 10, 11, like I just had a feeling like this is all for something, like, so this is going to be, because I'm going through this, I'm going to be able to do a lot more, and this is for something greater, in the future. And so I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I just knew that I wanted to do something big, partly because, I don't want to go through all these experiences and hardships and just live an ordinary life of just, living day to day, just going to the office, just living just such a mundane life. I knew that like what I went through, like I needed to share, and I needed to
yeah,
like make it meaningful. Like what I went through isn't just meant to just be pass over, and so I think that's kind of what drove me to, like the pain, the hurt. It kind of motivated me to be like, I want to do something with my life and make something in my life, to show that it matters and to impact other people. And so, um, yeah, I can't say a specific point, but just the hardships I went through, while I was younger, I knew it would just be used to impact people and help others. And
yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. That's deep. Knowing that you realize that at such a young age,
Yeah.
it's insightful, and not everyone has those insights so early on. So, yeah, man. I'm glad you shared that. The other thing I wanted to ask you was, now that you've reached the position you're in now, and things are looking a bit more clearer, what is it that you feed your mind on a day-to-day basis? Is there certain material, certain books, certain things that you do on a day-to-day basis to keep your mind focused on the right thing?
Yeah. So when I wake up, I listen to. Well, I try to. I want to start with like Thanksgiving, and on my in my room I have, on my mirror, I wrote down with a marker just what am I grateful for. So I just look at that,
Yeah,
whenever I see the mirror, and then just kind of, I don't have a set routine, but I listen to audiobooks. Even when I'm posting on Instagram and doing all that kind of technical stuff. I'm listening to audiobooks like Think and Grow Rich and
Yeah.
things like that. And it just kind of keeps me grounded in, you know, knowing like what's important and kind of feeding me information that will help advance me, move forward. And so, yeah, that's just kind of keep myself feeding myself with that kind of information is important because every day, we're always being fed information like through social media, through TV, and if you don't control what you're putting in, it's like, what's going on in your head, and so, yeah, audiobooks are big for me though. Yeah, audiobooks, podcasts, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Audio.
Yeah, no, definitely. I find that to be the same thing for me as well. Like I listen to a lot of audiobooks whenever I get the chance. If I'm traveling somewhere, or if I've got a spare like 10 or 15 minutes, I will try and fit it in there as well. So as you said, it's all about how you build up your mind. I mean, one of the other guests which I really liked said was the plant will reveal what's in the seed. So your brain's a seed. And it's your outside world is going to be a reflection of what's going on inside here, and you can control what goes in and out of this mind. It's up to you,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So you've also got a podcast, right? So I mean, how did that start? And tell everyone what made you start that, and then what were the steps you followed? Because a lot of people want to start a podcast, or they want to start their own, creation of their own sort of content, but they tend to be lost in the sense that they get overwhelmed. They don't know all the steps. So what would you tell someone who's just starting out and wants to create their own sort of content, whether that's on Instagram or the podcast the way you've done?
Yeah. So my first post on my my profile on Instagram. It says Ikigai. It's like a concept. I just found this post, but basically it's like, you gotta find who you are first. You gotta find, so in that diagram it says what you love, what the world needs, what you can get paid for, and I think it was like what you're passionate about or something like that. But it's just all those facets tied into one, and it's all about like finding who you are. And I feel like if you don't really know who you are and what your message is that you want to share with the world, then it's really hard to know what to even create, And so, for me, why I started my podcast was, I see all these great influencers, and like I know that they have stories behind them, and I know they're not just a robot posting every day. Everyone has a story, and I believe stories can change people's, like, their life. Actually, it could change the way you think. It could change the way that you look at things. And so, I wanted to share stories of social media influencers and entrepreneurs, and just kind of share like the struggles, share like what they've gone through, and just how they've been able to build a following on their own. And since I was in the Instagram world, I started off with Instagram influencers. But my message that I wanted to share was, look at these people who have taken action and found what they want to do with their life. And obviously we might not know perfectly, but at least they take the step to at least follow what they feel like is right for them, is fitting for them, and they're at where they are today because they took that action. And I believe like hearing stories of that can inspire people to do that as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think as we were saying before we started recording, people just have to be willing to take the step, even though they don't know what's going to be next and what's to come. But I think before all of that, which is what I'm going through right now, it's just to clarify the message, to really make sure that it's airtight, and then you can attract the right tribe to that message, rather than being all over the place or generic. So
yeah. And I also want to say like you need a why as well. I know everyone says that like you need a strong why or you're gonna give up, and so I believe like if you don't have like a real strong reason for why you want to do the thing that you want to do or why you want to create content, then why would you keep on doing it when things get tough? And so like a big why for me is just even my siblings. I have two younger siblings. It's just I want to be an example for them, and show them that it is possible, and also to show them that like what we've went through, the hardships and the things that could have turned us the wrong way, you could use it for good, for something good, and
Yeah.
impact a lot of people. And so, um, yeah, man, just everyone's life matters, everyone's story matters, and that's just that's why I started the whole podcast and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, man. No, it sounds good. So the podcast, can you just tell everyone what the podcast is called so they know where to find it if they need to search it?
Yeah, it's called Social Ray. You can find it on iTunes and Stitcher, SoundCloud, and so Social Ray, just one word, or look up like social media marketing podcast, Social Ray.
Yeah.
It's also in the link of my bio on Instagram, ray.ahn on Instagram, so you can check it out there. And I kind of want to share why the name was Social Ray. So first of all, my name is Ray and Raymond, and social because I'm pretty social. I'm a social guy. That's how I was able to network with pretty big entrepreneurs like Randall Pitch of Liquid and Gil of Luxury World Traveler, and just a lot of these big names. Nathan Chan, a founder, Joe Brown of Addicted to Success, and I was able to network with these big people like at the beginning, which is amazing, and I was blessed enough to have done that. But also another aspect is I'm shining a light on social media, and shining a light not just in terms of like how to do social media, but to kind of share the stories of the people behind it, and hopefully shedding a light in people's life so that they could see these examples and be inspired and find their own light or find their own passion, find their own dream, and follow that, And so,
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, man. Sounds good. So, where's Raymond going next? I mean, have you thought about the next few years or the next steps for you?
Yeah. Well, definitely keep on doing my podcast because I believe like the world is all about ideas, and this world is full of ideas. Some are not good, not so good. If you look at some of the people who have millions of followers, some of their messages are not building people up. It's just like there's some guy who just steals stuff and he has like 1 million followers and he just records.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And like I'm just like, dude, like that's cool. I mean, good for him. He has 1 million followers, but like, what kind of message are you promoting to the world? What value are you contributing to the world? And so it's like, we need to promote ideas that are, going to build up people, going to advance, the next generation and each other, instead of promoting things that are just, destroying and really just not really getting people anywhere, And so, that's a big thing for me that fires me up. Just like, why do they have so many followers and like they don't have the right message? Like, we need more people with like good messages, with good hearts to step up. I'm tired of seeing people so many people who have good intentions. They want to play small. And like, dude, you have one life. Like, why not go big? And so for me, like, where I want to go next, definitely grow my podcast base and grow my Instagram, obviously. And I want to hold events. I want to hold my own events, invite influencers, share their stories, and have events where people can come and get together, get to know each other, and like support each other on the journey. Like kind of like you and I, we're both on our journey. It's not like we've made it like Gary Vee, who's pretty much he's in a good place, but like we're all on our journey, and we get to encourage and inspire one another together. Instead of just being like, oh, I'm doing my own thing and you do your own. Yeah. It's like, why not just encourage each other and build each other up so we could all like, make a better place,
Yeah. I mean, just as you were talking, a thought just came to my mind, and it's weird. It always happens when we get into these sort of conversations, even with my friends, when I speak to them about this sort of stuff, I end up getting some grand ideas. So I'll just go ahead and say it.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah, exactly, man. So each of us, I don't know how much you resonate with this, but we've all come from one source, and each of us is a channel that's being, and that source is being expressed through that channel. So the journey is the same. It's coming from the same place. It's being expressed in different ways, and so we should all celebrate that we're on the same journey. Like, the struggles might be different, but the expression is coming all from the same place. So the way that you're expressing yourself is through social media, podcasting, through building a social media brand. The way that I'm doing it is similar but different at the same time, because the struggles in the background that I've come from are different. But we should celebrate the journey together, because we're all on the path together. You know, we're all going to different destinations, but we've all come from the same place. So
exactly,
yeah, man.
that's beautiful, man. Yeah, man. I mean, and if you think about it, you know, we're all connected. We're all human beings. We're all spiritual beings. You know, I believe, and it's just we're all, like, none of us have it figured out. You know, none of us have. You know, we're all born into this life. You're not born thinking, how much money do I need to make? You know, for my life. Like, we're just born, and we're just like, what am I born into? Into this thing called life. You know?
Yeah.
We're just all just trying to figure out, like, yeah, well, what does it mean to live life? What does it mean to be alive? And what does it mean to live life to the fullest? You know, so we're all just figuring it out, and we get to just kind of interweave our lives and stories and just make something beautiful, you know?
Yeah. No, exactly. So just to finish off, I wanted to just ask you, what message do you want to leave behind? So when the day comes that you're looking back at your life, you're 90 years old.
Yeah.
What's the message that you'd be happy to leave behind? Like, what's your legacy?
My legacy. Yeah, well, I'm 25 right now, so I'd be around like 60, 70 years from now. The message that I want to leave behind is that you know, don't let anyone or anything change who you are. You know, I believe we're all made unique, and we're all made with dreams and passions, and we're all just, like, there's never gonna be another you. You know, and I believe we're made of like trillions of cells, and those cells are never gonna arrange itself to be exactly like who you are. There's never gonna be a copy of you ever, and so, you know, embrace who you are. You know, love yourself, and really just live a life of love. You know, I believe we're all here to learn how to love one another, to love God, and it's a journey. You know, no one's perfect. You know, no one's a saint. No one's has it all together, but we all get to kind of share this experience of life with one another and grow together into just the best version of ourselves. You know, and so. Yeah, so be yourself, love others, and just be the best version of yourself that you can be. Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. Nah, it's amazing, and you're definitely on the path to making that happen, man. So, you know,
Thank you.
When we're both 90, I'm going to ask you, and hopefully you fulfilled that message, man.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. It's, I mean, just stay true to yourself, right? And you'll get there.
Yeah,
So.
exactly, man. But yeah, no, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak, man. You know, for one, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and two, I hope all the listeners have taken at least one nugget away from everything that you've shared, because, you know, everyone's story, you can learn something from everyone's story. So I hope that people can take something away from today, and yeah, thanks again, man, and definitely catch up with you again soon.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks, brother. Bye-bye.
Bye.